Fáilte Chlór Community Focus. Hello and welcome to the Community Focus programme. This programme is sponsored by Eason's of Main Street Cavan and Pearse Street Mullingar. This programme highlights the work of community groups in County Cavan and the contribution that they make locally. If you would like to comment on the show or have your community initiative or issue featured, please email drumlinmedia@gmail.com or contact us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/CavanTV, or on Twitter @CavanTV, or by including #CavanTV in any of your tweets. This show is live on the internet and on Smith's Cablevision in Cavan Town every Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Last week we featured the launch of FLA 2012 on the show. And following on from that this evening, I am joined by Michael Swords, and Michael is a volunteer with the FLA, and I think that the FLA certainly could not go ahead without the help of all the volunteers involved. So Michael, I just want to talk to you. I know that the FLA committee are currently looking for volunteers to participate this year. So from a volunteer's perspective, just want to ask you a few questions about your experience of volunteering in the FLA. So when first of all, this is going to be your third FLA?
This is my third year to work with the FLA.
So when did you first of all get involved, and how really?
Yeah, well, Tom Sullivan, the assistant county librarian, asked me 3 years ago would I be interested in joining a committee. Mm-hmm. And Tom knew I was retired, and he knew that time wasn't a big problem, that I had plenty of time. So I joined the committee, and from there on I've been involved. We have monthly meetings, and I find it very fulfilling, meet a lot of people, and I feel it's an excellent way of helping the community and maybe giving something back to the community that you have been living in for 40 years.
So you're actually involved, like you're part of the volunteering, you're involved maybe in the organisation then?
I'm involved with the Mortis subcommittee, and during the FLA I work some of the time in the information office.
Right.
And
so you giving information and advice to
people who see some of our volunteers are young, and they wouldn't know the geography of the town. They wouldn't know where Bullock Lane was. Bullock Lane now last year tightened a lot of people because it's an old name for a new building, for a new premises, and they always needed people with a lot of experience in Cavan to be in the office, so that if people wanted to know directions of where the different services were taking place, we were able to guide them.
Yeah, I know they do have it well mapped out and everything,
but still there's always, and then you'd have people, I met French people and Germans, I met many Americans coming over, and they all come to the office to buy the catalogue. The programme, that's the important thing. The Chlór is very important. And it was noticeable early in the week in the office. People would come in and they'd look at the Chlór, and they'd hear it was £8, and they'd look at it and then they'd leave it down. But once Thursday come, once the real genuine FLA person come, the first thing he wanted was the Chlór. Because he couldn't, he couldn't work without it. It's like going to a race meeting, you have to get the race car. But it was very noticeable. From Thursday onwards, the first thing they wanted was the Chlór.
Yeah, it will be very, very popular.
And you just can't, if you're going to get involved in the FLA, you must have the Chlór.
Absolutely, yeah. And what aspects then were you involved in? What would you be doing, like at the FLA last year? And
I'd spend maybe 3 or 4 hours working in the office on general queries. And then I did the walking tours. They took from about from 10 o'clock till about 11:30. We did walking tours on 4 days. And we estimate that in the 4 days we had about 500 people joining us on the walking tours. They were a great success. And it was something that in the first year people come and said there's nothing done to try to tell people about Cavan. So Tom Sullivan said, Michael, would you be prepared to do a walking tour? I've been reading the history of Cavan Town for 40 years, so it wasn't it wasn't a major job to get involved. And we basically start outside the library, we go up to the cathedral, we go down Farnham Street, spend a good bit of time at St Mary's Abbey, because that's a building that dates back to 1250. Still standing.
Really?
Yeah. Very few towns have a building dating back to 1250.
Yeah.
And we spent a good bit of time in St Mary's Abbey because it's a very historical.
And it's something that's really not noticed.
Oh yeah, well a lot of people
Cavan
driving down
yeah.
Farnham Street wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But you see, Farnham Street was only opened in 1825. Lord Farnham established Farnham Street, and in order to do that, he had to pipe the Kinry Pottle River under the street. In 1825, that was a major engineering achievement. The Kinry Pottle goes underground just at the John Sullivan home and joins the Cavan River at the bus office. But that was the first problem he had, to pipe the Kinry Pottle River under Farnham Street. So that was a major achievement. But Lord Farnham's idea was that he would establish a three-line boulevard that would,
fancy street.
oh yeah, that would attract all the swanks of Cavan to live. And when they were living in Farnham Street in their nice 3-storey Georgian houses, they had the three churches, they had the 2 schools, they had all the legal aspect of the courthouse, and they had the only bank in Cavan was the Provincial Bank back in 1825.
All right, and that was on Farnham Street? On
Farnham Street, all on Farnham Street.
And you were telling me earlier there was a jail.
Oh yeah, there was a jail.
Street.
Yeah, the Cavan Jail was a well-established. It was opened in 1810, and it was exactly as you go into the boys' school. It was opened in 1810, decommissioned in 1880, and demolished in 1940.
Okay.
And when it was fully occupied, they could hold about 120 prisoners, male and female. And the biggest offence was for making putching. That was a major offence, and half the inmates were on putching charges. So it was a cottage industry back in the 1800s.
And something you were sent to prison for.
Yeah.
You were saying there was a lot of hangings.
Oh yeah. They hung any guy that was done for murder was hung at the gable of the prison, and it was a big event. People used to come in to witness the hangings. So it was a major. But and the other thing that people didn't understand, that the original Farnham Arms Hotel is where the old library was, in the middle of Farnham Street. It wasn't on Main Street. That was the original Farnham Arms Hotel, was beside, where the old library was.
Yeah.
Where the old library was.
All right.
And it was a hotel until about 1848. It then changed to be it was bought by a local guy, and he opened it as 2 houses, and the vocational school was next door. But now to get back maybe to the Fleadh.
Yeah, because I was just about to say, you're going to have more than 500 to cater for this year on your tour.
Yeah, so this year we're running 4 walks, and then Fiona Duffy of the library is running 2 evenings sessions as well. So it'll be a choice. Morning, we'll be running from 10 to 11, and she'll be running probably from 2 to 3 in the afternoon for maybe 2 evenings. And then I work in the Craft Village. Craft Village is in the grounds of Cavan No. 1 School, and it highlights 24, not all Cavan, but basically from the Cavan region, small industry, small crafts. Some of them are food, but they're all from Cavan Monaghan, and it's organised by Peter Pollock of Leader, and that has been very successful.
Yeah. It's
a place where a lot of people visit, and they can buy jewellery by David Coburn's wife, and they can buy ice cream from Caslin, from Gilson.
It's great for, I think, local people getting to display their produce and crafts.
Mrs. Coburn is a very famous jewellery designer, and she sells her product at the Fleadh. She is very well established as a jewellery designer. Now,
In terms then of volunteering, better get back to that. What would you think would be the best aspects of volunteering? What did you enjoy most about it?
Well, I find, of course, my family tell me I should have been a politician because I love meeting people and finding out where they're from and who they're married to and all like that. That's wonderful. I met guys last year at the Fleadh that I haven't seen for 20 years, and I could remember who their wives were and all like that. I had a great interest in people. So I find as a volunteer, especially in the main office, you meet a lot of people. But as I was saying earlier there, that the Fleadh, you see, the primary purpose of the Fleadh is to organise the official competitions. That's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But Cavan 2 years ago decided that they would pad it out and they would have a lot of peripheral events.
Yeah.
You know, that they'd have drama and art displays, and they'd have Cayley band sessions, and they'd have street sessions, and they'd have parades. All that was
the
extra.
arts is very strong.
Last year there was at least 2 or 3 different art displays in Jackson showrooms was one. They had another one up in the old Celt office, and there was one out even in Ballinya. And the other thing that people don't realise, that the Fleadh programme extends across the county. Like there are events in Ballyjames and in Balyborough and in West Cavan. And the tours now, we've been talking about walking tours, but there are bus tours as well. So that it's an all-embracing programme. And that if people come to Cavan to the Fleadh, and maybe they're not as turned on as they should be on music, they have all these other events.
Absolutely. There's a lot more peripheral events. And I think Cavan have quite moved away from the traditional Fleadh format. And recognising it should be more family friendly and have something for everyone. I think
it's all embracing, and there's programs for youth, and there's training sessions on the different musical instruments. That goes down terribly well, and kids come from all over the country. But there's a lot of Americans come to compete in the competitions.
Yes.
You know, a lot of Americans particularly. But there's Germans and French, and you name it, they're here.
Well, that's why it's good to have the walking tour as well, and then the tour of the county. When people are coming over, you know, you should be introducing them to a bit more of the town and of the county, and letting them see how beautiful it is, and getting to learn a little bit of the history.
Oh yes,
which you're doing for us.
One lad, and he said to me, he went to school for 10 years in the Brothers, and they never told him one line about the history of Farnham Street. And they walked up and down it 4 times a day. And he said, I had to come to the Fleadh to hear about Farnham Street and the history of Cavan Town. There is a map, you can see it now. There's a map of Cavan in 1592. I saw it on T-shirts last year during the Fleadh.
Yeah.
And it's a very unique map, and it shows Cavan with just basically 2 streets, Main Street and Bridge Street.
Yeah, I believe Eason's was the centre, wasn't it?
They decided that as a municipal, when in 1611, when Cavan got its charter, it was going to be ruled as an English town. They had to decide what was inside the new boundary and what was outside. So they took Eason's, because it was the only stone-built house, and they took a mile radius from Eason's, and that was the old urban area, and it's still the urban area to this day.
Yeah.
And there's a place up at Drumcraft called the Mile Bush, and that would be exactly a mile from the centre of town. But on that 1592 map, O'Reilly's Castle was up in Tullochmunga. And it was a bit like the Twin Towers in New York. Once you looked, you could see it could be seen from all over the town. Oh. And it was demolished and decommissioned about 1640.
My producer here today was asking about the tunnel.
Oh yeah.
I think there used to be a tunnel.
During this walks, I heard about more tunnels. In fact, you'd nearly be afraid to put down your foot that you'd go down in a tunnel. There is evidence that there was a tunnel from Tullochmungan to Eason's, And there was then see when his castle in Tullochmongan was put out of commission, he built a castle in Bridge Street, just opposite the entrance to Bridge Street, car park, and that there was a tunnel from Eason's down to that one. So that was his town castle. See, building castles in 1640 was no problem because labour, they weren't paying trade union wages, and the materials were all native, so it was just a matter of changing.
Fascinating, and as I say, there'll be loads of people going on your tour this year. Absolutely, fascinating. We should nearly get Cavan TV to record some of your tour.
Yeah.
Sounds really, really good. So, what about in terms of the volunteering then? Why should people volunteer and get involved in the flag?
Yeah, well,
what
I
do you get
think
from
people
it?
should volunteer. First of all, it's a once-off chance to put in, you know, to give back something to Cavan. And young people, like, it's amazing. I had safety officers last year with me on the tour, and they were young people, and they were there every morning to do their duty. So when you're moving 100 people up Main Street, you have to have safety. You have to have people there to make sure that they keep on the footpath and they stop and all like that. But I think young people, and first of all, they have the time. A lot of them are maybe finished in school or at third level.
A lot of people unemployed too.
Yeah, of course unemployed, and I'm sure.
Experience to get involved.
And if a guy put on his CV or a lady put on her CV that she worked as a volunteer for the last 2 years for Cavan Flackhole, unpaid, I think the guy interviewing her would have a very different impression. You know, that this person was prepared to give and freely, and be trusted and be asked to do a job and be there to do it. But 1,500, it's a big job. Derry Caslin was the main coordinator. It's a major job coordinating 50. And they're not all huge. And they're not all just in Cavan.
Yeah.
You know, you could have them anywhere. And then, see, they were out in the army barracks, they were out in the craft tent, they were all over the town.
I mean, all the different elements of the flag, the amount of coordination that goes into it is just unreal.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And everything runs according to clockwork. There's never a problem.
Yeah, they're well organised, but a lot of planning though that does go into it to make it run like clockwork at the time.
There's about 300 different judges. You know, it takes a lot of people to do the official end of it. You know, you can't have an adjudicator adjudicating at 3 or 4 competitions because he can only be at one place at one time. So they have a lot of adjudicators. Paddy Ryan, I think, was the chief adjudicator, and that's a major job.
I'm sure, absolutely. Michael, thanks a million for coming in here this evening and for giving your views on volunteering. I'm sure it's something definitely that there's a lot of young and old and middle-aged volunteering. It's suitable, isn't it, really, for all age groups?
It's not a young, but young people probably have the time and they have the energy. Energy is a big item too now. Like if you're on foot from maybe 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock in the evening, now you mightn't be on full time, but you have to be there. And
I think you kind of get allocated certain hours.
You get usually 4 hours per day is there. But invariably people will have to do another slot and there'll be a vacancy somewhere. But it all works out. And I've never heard of a crisis where volunteers didn't turn up or that they couldn't run a competition because they hadn't the volunteers. See, volunteers are very big into being involved at the competition stage. It's, you know, organising people and making sure that the facilities are there. There's a lot of work. An awful lot of organisation, yeah, definitely. But it's all worth it. It's all worth it, and I would recommend any young person or any person that has time to sign on for 4 or 5 hours a day or wherever it takes. And I think it's most rewarding. It is, absolutely. It's most rewarding. Well, here's to great 2012 flag. And so, sure, we'll be recording it and sending it out live all over the world on Cavan TV. So we look forward to that. So, Michael, thank you so much again. Really appreciate you taking the time to come in here. And I'm sure I'll meet you over the course of the flag. Oh, yes, of course. Great. Well, now we met with the Tuberty Show when they were in Cavan a number of weeks ago,
And as part of this, the Virginia show were there and brought along a special guest on the morning. So we've a clip now coming up from the Tubridy show. Kathleen Duffy, I think, is going to provide the voiceover on it.
Well, Patrick is clipping the legs. The finer you clip them, the better the bone looks. Edwin will be blow drying up her top line then to make her back look as straight as possible. And Satanta is keeping it well brushed down to keep the hair out of the way. So basically the more hair you can get off, the better it is, because the more of the actual body of the animal you can see as opposed to seeing the hair. The top line is kept trimmed. Several different types of clippers are used. There are fine clippers, a rough clippers to start off, and then a fine clippers is used to finish off the finer parts of it and make it look a little bit neater, and then at the end they'll blow dry her tail. Satanta's keeping the lines clear. He's brushing away all the loose hair at the moment from the legs, and Patrick will take the very heavy hair off, and then when Edwin is finished with the top line and has it straightened up as much as he needs it, he'll get back with the hairdryer and a little bit of spray and keep it up. It's a bit like the ladies using the gel in their hair at night time. They have to put when they're going out, the top line has to be finished off with a little bit of gel to keep it up and nice and straight when she's finished off. And they just go to the top of her pin bones at her back of her tail, and then halfway down on her tail they clip it really tight, as you can see, and then they leave basically level with her udder. From there down all the natural hair is left, and it's just blow dried and fluffed out a bit, like back combing your own hair. Give it a bit of depth and that.
It's taking place on Wednesday, August 22nd, and we have.
The guy's telling us to move.
Yeah. Move over here to the cow. Patrick and Edwin and Satanta again are here, and they're going to clip the cow because the biggest competition at Virginia show is the Bailey's Champion Dairy Cow, and you're to talk about the roast for
Oh, indeed.
Well, these are the ladies. This is a parade of a different type, a moving parade, I might say, of over 30 of the finest cows in all of Ireland. So produce the milk that's supplied to Glanbia Ingredients in Virginia and County Cow, who are joint sponsors with Bailey's Irish Cream, and the milk from the cows go in to make the Bailey's cream, which is one of the largest exports in Ireland. It's one of the good news stories for Ireland. Agriculture is, as you know, one of the big, and the cream of agriculture is seen at the likes of Virginia show and another 125 shows all around Ireland as well.
Okay, so back to the bovine rows of Tralee. We have the cows have to look their best. So so you've got the Dahi O'Shea interviews the cow and says, look, where your family's from. But
the whole lineage of the cow is known, not only the Grandam, all the way back, but the whole details of the milk, the quality of the milk, not just the amount, but the lactose and everything.
it's like a who do you think you are for cows?
Oh yeah, it's really an investigation, right into the background, plus the quality of the milk at the time. We don't just have cows, we also have well turned up the little black bulls, the Aberdeen Angus, the Limousines, the Charolais, and all the other bovine animals that you can think of.
Are the limousines as classy as they sound?
The limousines are absolutely beautiful brown bulls and cows and that sort of thing. The Charolais is the white one, and then the little black bull is the Aberdeen Angus, and this year we're very lucky to have all Ireland's from all three of those sections as well. And then we have the likes of the Liffey Meats, the Learn and Big Bulls. So we don't have just the pedigree, we also have the commercial.
See, Grace thought cows were just cows. They're cows. They move, they feed them, and they fall down. But let's go and say hello to Patrick Gaynor here, who's here. Are you Edmund? No, that's John. Are you Edmund? You're Satanta. He's in a John Deere jumpsuit there. Brilliant. It's like an Agri Elvis. Okay, so Patrick, you have a cow in front. What sort of a cow am I looking at?
This is a Holstein Friesian heifer. She's in calf, she'll be a cow next year. So if you come back next year, she'll have another mid cow next year.
See, Grace, it's not even a cow.
So she'll be shown at the Virginia show. So she'll have to be clipped. As you know, cattle or animals are a lot of hair on them. So the Holstein Friesian is better looking when they have no hair on them at all. You see the hind skin and their casting.
So you're going to give this a cow? Do I call her a cow?
A cow.
Oh, you're going to give this cow a makeover.
A makeover,
Okay.
yeah. She was shampooed this morning before we came down.
What sort of shampoo did you use? Dairy mustard. Is that it, really?
That's it, yeah.
Okay.
That's it, yeah. So dry now. It has to be dry.
Use conditioner?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So Edmund will just show you now how we start off with our top line. Top line is from our shoulder back.
The Mohican.
The Mohican. And it has to be level. So you can see now it's not level. There's kind of a little group there. So Edmund will blow it up and you start clipping now. If you want to see that.
Well, what else will you be doing to make the cow look beautiful?
Well, we'll clip her all over. All the hair will be gone off. We'll brush up her tail. We'll put shining off. You put WD-40. So WD-40. You put that on a brush and you shine it and brings out a lovely shine on them.
Okay, how do you make her eyes sparkle?
And
then the lashes.
the lashes, yeah, you do the curl up the.
Yeah. Okay. And is there anything you can use for an extra shine on the nose, just to impress?
You could use whatever you want. Yeah.
Brasso.
Okay.
Do you have a name?
Yeah, she's. What she had?
What's the cow's name? Acres 8.
No, that's a family.
Okay, good stuff. So we're going to let you go now. And what about the hooves? Are they going to?
Yeah, they'll be shined. They'll be polished up.
So a little pedicure.
Yeah.
So when we come back out in a few minutes' time, the cow's going to be transformed.
Well, hopefully.
So first, I'll ask you then to finish. There are a number of upcoming events taking place in Cavan. On Wednesday next, there will be a public meeting of the Gathering 2013. All members of the public are invited to attend this event in the Hotel Kilmer at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, July 11th. Members of the public are asked to come up with ideas for events that could act for the Gathering. Cavan has proven that we can organise good festivals with the FLA, and we can use this experience for the Gathering next year. One great example of an event idea is one that we featured this year with the residents of the Owen Row, who got together for the 100-year celebrations. For more information on the Gathering, you can contact Paddy Connaughton in the County Council. Young Arts, then celebrating cultural diversity through the arts, is organising a series of art workshops in dance, physical theatre, percussion and visual arts. The programme runs from Tuesday the 7th to Sunday the 12th of August. Places are free but are limited, and to register you can contact them on their Facebook page. Shinjera an Clór Community Focus or cavantv.com. By Mayor Asharish, Jacading Shahugin or Hug the Clug. That brings to an end tonight's Community Focus show on cavantv.com. I'll be back again next Wednesday evening at the same time to give you more community related news on cavantv.com. Thanks to everyone who contributed to the programme this evening. Thanks for watching and have a great week. Slán.